Hello, guys. Happy New Year. Welcome to another section of Code with Toyo. Um, just want to use this to kick off the new year, Python programming. So today we are going to be talking about something very important, not only in Python, in different programming language, and these are functions. And what are functions? Functions are basically just a part of code that is reusable, just a chunk of code that you have that you can call to use to do other things. For example, your solution always adds two numbers, so you can write a function to keep doing this instead of always writing a code to add two numbers. So the functions will just take in some argument and you are going to get your result. So most of the time, functions are either returning nothing or they're actually returning a value. The essence of function is always to just do something and return something. So let's just take a look at Python functions. If you're using from Python 3.5 above, you have access to what is called typing. If not, we are going to write a normal function without typing, then we'll do with typing. In subsequent videos, I'm going to talk about typing and why it's very, very important for you when you are writing your Python code in the latest Python 3. I think from 3.5 above, typing was introduced into Python. So let's just get straight to it. How do you write function in Python? What is the syntax of writing a function in Python? The syntax is basically it starts with the keyword, then the function name. After the function name, then a parenthesis. After the parenthesis, so let's just go ahead and say we want to write a function that will always greet us, and we just want it to just say it should return just say good morning. So what we want this function to do is simple. Whenever I call the function, it should just say good morning. Now, the function has the declaration part of it, which has the keyword def, meaning you want to define, which has a function name, the parentheses. This full column represents the body of the function. You can see there is indentation here about for spacing. We talk about indentation in some of the videos. You can always check up our videos on YouTube and see most of these things. Then a return keyword. Whenever the body of the function sees a return keyword, it knows that that is the end of the function. You are done with everything. You just want to return something and it breaks out of the function automatically. So let's just call this particular function. We declare how do we call it? Is as simple as let's say I just say greet us. Simple. So I just have declared it here and here I'm calling it. This one will be a function call. I'm trying to say greet us. So if I run this now, I won't see anything on the screen. Why won't I see anything on the screen? Basically, in other videos that we had in Python, we have two key stuffs. The first one is the print function that comes with Python. By default, is native to Python. It helps us see things on the screen. While the other one is the input that prompts the user to enter in an input. So let's just call a print on this so that Python can get it out for us to see. So when you have these and you hit on this, automatically you can see saying good morning. Again, this is just a basic function just to greet. So why do we need a function? Probably you are creating a solution that calculates area of triangles or a solution that calculates coordinates and a whole lot of things. You need a function because the area of triangle I'm calculating as Mr. A is different from what Mr. B is calculating, is different from what Mr. C is calculating, but everybody wants to use your function. So that's why we need a function to always return things. So this is a basic function that just return greeting. If a function does not have a return keyword, it automatically returns none in Python. So let's just do a function that has a parameter. Now, what is a parameter? If you talk about a parameter, these are, would I say, variables or values? Yeah, variables that your function needs to work. For example, you have a car. Your car comes with a fuel tank by default. That is parameter. The fuel you point to your car is an argument. You understand? Just let's see how we can get it to work. So let's say we want a function that we show name and age. Meanwhile, I'm writing my function name using the camel case. So I want to take the name and I want to take the age at the end of the day. When I do this, I just want to um, return as it is a formatted printing interpolation there. I want to return name and age at the end of the day. And if I hit on enter, you can see I'm out of the function. So if I want this, I want to call this function to work. That means these are parameters during function declaration. During function call, there will be argument. So let me call them show name and age. You can see automatically my ID I'm using VS Code is already saying, okay, this function show name and age. Somehow it takes the name as the type of any, age as the type of any. So we'll talk about typing maybe this video or the next video. So I want to pass a name. It says any. So let me just pass as a string and maybe let me pass 22 as a number. So if I have this now, automatically this function call will pass these values as arguments into these as parameters, and the body of the function will have access to it. So if I just go at the end of the day, I say maybe let me attach this to a variable. Let me call it info. So we have variable info, and if I just say print info, this will go ahead and print my name and my age. Name is Elijah, age is this. So if I just want to change this to say maybe hi name, um, welcome. Your age is age. Let's just say this. And I run this again. You can see it's saying hi Elijah, welcome. Your age is 22. So if this name should change maybe from maybe Elijah to maybe Aliu, that means Aliu can use this. And let's say Aliu is 20 years old. Aliu can use this. You can see we are reusing the same function. This hi Aliu. So function is basically good for, is a part of the code, a chunk of code for reusability. So we're able to use this particular code for everybody instead of writing programs all over to say Elijah, to say Aliu. Imagine you have 1,000 people, you have to write 1,000 different variables when you can write a function that will manage the entire scenario. So that's what a function looks like. A function without a parameter and a parametric function. Then let's quickly talk about um, typing in Python. Typing or type hint. Typing in Python helps you to predetermine the kind of variables you want to use, maybe within your functions, or you are declaring before you start using them. It's important because then Python is able to know what to expect and what to see. If you observe when we are working with this particular guy, at the place of function call is saying these variables are all of type any. But with typing, we can determine the type. So let's quickly write a function that maybe it will just take two numbers and return a number. So we want to work with the number data type. So if you don't know about data type, data structures, we have a video on YouTube as well. You can go to YouTube, search for Butterverse, you see our video. So let me quickly throw this in there. So let's say define want to add two numbers, for example, and the first number we want it to be a num1 as a parameter. I want it to be an integer as a type. We have a num2. I want it to be an integer too. And at the end of the day, I want it to return an integer for me. So after all your operations, return an integer. So I could go and say num1 plus num2. That is all I just needed to do. So this is my function now with typing. Define, I want to add two numbers. Number one will be an integer, number two will be an integer, and the end of the day to return an integer. So this function knows that I am doing an integer operation and I'm returning an integer. That way, if I go number one dot, I can see things that have to do with integer. So we'll go details into this eventually later. Bit count, numerator, real values. I can do some native Python things on these values even before they start getting real values. So let's say we have a result like it. So result, we want to add two numbers 10, 20, and if we print result and we run this, automatically is returning 30. So if what happens if I come to result and I try to put a string, I put, so you can see the ID is already telling me that hey, this takes num1 as int, num2 as int, and returns an integer, not any at the end of the day. Whatever you are passing into it is not what it's expecting. So at compile time, when I'm writing my code, I'm able to catch errors before runtime. So this is one of the strengths that TypeScript have in JavaScript. TypeScript will not even run, it will not even allow you to run it to give you some sort of error and all of this. But Python is trying to tell you using typing that this is not a string. I don't take a string. So let me take a string as 5 and still try to run it. It will still give me an error saying no, had it been I didn't do this, it will do a concatenation at the end of the day. So let's try it and see if it do a concatenation for us. So you can see we type hint, we start getting hint from our ID complaining about all these things. So if you don't have type hint, you won't see any errors. You just have to run. You now start seeing your errors at runtime. But with type hint, even before you start running, you start seeing Python complaining. So we are going to do several videos on typing, knowing the Python native typing, maybe then when you're using Pydantic and typing that has to do with unions and all of these guys and see how we can. I will do more videos on functions after this. So this is just our first video for the year, just to welcome us back to our learning process. And once again, you can follow our YouTube channels. You can follow me on social media. If you have any question in line with software engineering, programming, Python most especially, JavaScript, that whatever it is, just let me know. I'll be willing to assist you. See you in the next videos. Bye.